Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by, as always. I went ahead and grabbed a Wesley So game. This is taken out of last year. This is the 2021 Aimchess U.S. Rapid, and this is the knockout portion that Alireza Firouzja and Wesley So played against each other. So this is the first round or first match, and this is the third game. So of course, for all my people coming from the Philippines, I will say mabuhay to you. Salamat. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Anybody who is coming from France, I will say bonjour and merci beaucoup. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by as well. But man, if you guys are ready to go, let's take a look, see what we got for this game, homie. So we got the move E4, we got C5, knight comes to F3, we got D6. And I always tell you guys, this is probably going to be like the most common way. This is by far the most heavily played way that the Sicilian is initially played. And you branch off into a bunch of different stuff, you know, the Naidorfs and the Dragons, or, you know, just kind of however you want to go doing it. But we do see bishop to B5 with check. And this is the Sicilian defense. It is the Canal attack. Like I said, I'm not sure what it's named for. But I mean, it kind of looks like a big old canal, like heading towards the king. So maybe that's why they put it like that. But we do see knight to D7. We got the move C4. Knight goes to F6. We got knight to C3, G6, castles, bishop to G7, and then we do have the move D3. And we have kind of what is known as a Rxa3 bind type situation. Generally speaking, the Rxa3 bind is a E4 C4 setup, and it is just very much what is it? It is discouraging. That's the word I'm using. I'm looking for. It is discouraging the move D5. You know, one of the freeing moves for Black, especially, is going to be E5, and it's going to be D5. To try to break things open, D5 is a lot like heavily played. So, you know, C4, E4, it just makes that basically impossible. So, you know, that is, you know, what, you know, the Rxa3 bind is supposed to be trying to help you prevent if you're white. You can also play it from Black side as well. But we do see the move castles as Black. We got the move H3. Knight goes to B6. And then we do have the move knight to A4, which is the novelty of the game. Pretty interesting setup. I mean, you just got knights kind of touching each other. It's not that taking here is going to really mess Black up in any way. I mean, the queen can just take back, or you also have knight F to D7, which is what we actually see in the game. And Firouzja just decides to put his knight back on C3. So, I mean, nothing really super has been accomplished from either side. They just kind of made a move and came back. So we do see the move A6. You know, asking the bishop, what does it want to do? So we do see bishop taking D7, bishop taking D7, and then the bishop does come to E3. And we have the move F5. I mean, you know, since the knight has moved out of the way, I mean, you know, white has a really, really nice center. Like, if you think about it, right? So, I mean, you know, you either have, like, maybe B5, which is kind of, like, somewhat discouraged. Not only because the knight's just completely in the way, but, I mean, it's not going to really do a whole lot. There's no D5, like I said, so F5 is pretty much the most logical, you know, move to make. After the pawn takes, you might see something like bishop taking F5, and then we're going to see what it is. But we do have the move F5, like I was mentioning a second ago, and we really don't want F4 to come in, you know, because she's going to be backing our bishop up. We want our bishop to have some scope. We don't want it to just kind of be backed up. So we do take a pawn on F5. The pawn itself takes F5. We actually have reached a point in the game that if you do want to pause the video, there is actually a really, really nice move to play in the position. And it actually takes advantage of something that Black hasn't done yet. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and try to guess and see what move that is, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So, you know, what you want to do when you're playing a chess game is look for any weaknesses that your opponent might have in their position. It's not necessarily a weakness, but it is definitely something that you can, like, pay attention to, and you might have the ability to gang up on it at some point in the future. And that piece or square is actually E7. You know, it at the moment is one of the backward pawns for Black. And so the move that I'm looking for is actually bishop to G5. And you will basically see Firouzja actually plays this pretty great. You know, not only the initial move is bishop to G5, so you are pinning this pawn down to this queen, and you are basically going to completely try to take over this half-open E-file, which is what Firouzja does. So this is a game that you really should look at and take a lot away from just based on that stuff that I told you. So we do see bishop to C6. We got rook over to E1, like I said, trying to, you know, take advantage of that half-open E-file. And at the moment, I mean, you know, it's really kind of hard if you're black to protect this pawn. I mean, you got rook to f7 or maybe knight back to c8, but I mean, these are moves that are kind of like uncomfortable for you to make if you're black. Like, you don't want to be undeveloping your pieces or sticking your rook on like an only square type situation. But we do see the move rook to f7. We got bishop back to h4. We got the move h6. And because black did take with that g-pawn, they don't have the ability to go g5 and attack your bishop and basically make e7 out of weakness. So we do see the rook going up to e6. And, I mean, this is just a really, really beautiful move. I mean, this rook is literally not going anywhere for a while. So we do see the queen going to d7. We got queen to e2. We got rook over to e8, and then rook comes over to e1. And like I said, I mean, in just a few moves, you know, we basically completely taking over the situation. This rook is not going anywhere. We have somewhat, I mean, it's not an Aliekin's gun because you kind of need the queen to be behind this rook. But, I mean, we have a really severe battery going on the e-file. This bishop is available. I mean, this knight can hop into d5 at some point if you want. So we do see the knight going to a8. We see knight up to d5, like I just mentioned. And I mean, this is kind of a pickle, just a little bit. I mean, you have, you know, we are preparing for, if this knight does come here to challenge this rook, we are preparing to take it off the board. You know, we have some tactics going on f6 a little bit too. I mean, the queen has the ability to start to try to come and infiltrate because, I mean, this rook, like I said, is just not going anywhere at all. So we do see bishop taking d5, pawn taking d5, and yes, white has definitely damaged their structure, but I mean, this is by far the best way to play if you're white, and I mean, this pawn is not going to be double for very long. We do see the knight going to c7. We got bishop taking e7, queen going down to b5. We do see bishop back to h4. And I mean, you know, you have a lot of pressure on this e8 rook. So, I mean, something kind of has to give. So we do see knight taking e6 and then pawn taking e6. So now you see that white has corrected their pawn structure. And, you know, the crazy thing is, for any of you guys that are familiar with the 1972, you know, Fischer versus Spassky World Championship, this actually really reminds me of the ping pong game room game 3. When basically, you know, Bobby Fischer played the Benoni, and he put his knight on the rim, and the bishop took it, and, you know, Spassky's team thought they were doing great. And then Bobby Fischer made it in such a way where he had to basically like capture back a knight, and he just corrected his pawn structure on his king side. So that is pretty much what I thought about when I saw this position. Like, the pawn started here, came over here, and now you got double pawns, and then basically black was forced in a position where they had to pretty much take that rook. So, I mean, you are down in exchange, but you have a completely passed pawn that is protected going to e7, and it's really going to be a bone in black's throat. So we do see the rook f going to f8. We see e7, like I said. Now it is just a complete bone. We see the rook going down to f7, and then we have the queen going to e6. So, I mean, these rooks are completely paralyzed. I mean, you have, you know, this rook being pinned to the king. The queen's not really helping too much on this side of the board. I mean, you don't really want to just go and start grabbing pawns. I mean, it's just not the absolute most beneficial position for you to be in if you are the black side. So we do see queen taking d3. And we actually, in the game, see queen to d7. I mean, because like I said, these rooks are, like, not going anywhere. So, I mean, you know, you just want to threaten the rook. But the thing about it was, after queen to d7, we did see the move queen to b5, which is, like, literally a saving move. Now, in this position here, before you made queen to d7, the computer really liked the move a4 just to basically prevent queen to b5 from coming on the board. And which would have been actually really great because, I mean, you can just take your time with going queen to d7. Like, you don't have to be so fast. And, I mean, this is just completely demolishing the game if you are Firouzja. But he did not do that. Like I said, the queen went to d7, and then the queen was able to come back to b5 to completely defend the position. So we go ahead and grab a pawn. Queen takes d6. We got queen over to c6. And Firouzja, you know, he just decides I'm going to go ahead and take the queen on c6. So we do see queen taking and then pawn taking. And then we see the move rook over to d1. And, I mean, the position has very much evened out. Basically, black is in a position where they literally have to give up the exchange because they cannot allow this rook to end up on the d8 square because this rook is going to be gone. You don't have a way to defend this way. So, I mean, this is just not where you want to be at all. So we do see rook f taking e7, bishop taking d7, rook taking d7. We got the move b3. I mean, this bishop was kind of attacking this pawn, so we kind of want to do something about it. But basically, black, with the horrible pawn structure that they have, they're basically saying, bro, I need to mess your pawn structure up some because we got to be kind of even, homie. So we do see the move c4. Pawn takes c4. So, I mean, you can see things have evened out quite a bit. You know, white definitely has the superior pawn structure, but it's not like it's just winning the game. We got rook down to e4. We got rook to d8 with check. The king goes over to f7. We see rook down to d7 with check. The king goes up to f8. We see the move g3. We got f4. Rook goes over to a7. I mean, we got to start attacking pawns at some point. We got pawn taking g3, pawn taking g3, rook down to e3, and then we just have the simple king to f2. And I mean, we're sitting good for the moment. But we do see the rook going over to a3. Not only is it defending of this pawn, but it is attacking this pawn as well. So this is a really nice rook maneuver. We got the rook over to c7 because clearly you're not winning at a pawn, homie. We got the move a5, a rook takes c6, a4, rook goes to a6. We got a rook taking a2 with check, the king going up to e3. We got the move a3, and we have the move c5. A rook goes to c2. Rook taking a3, rook taking c5. So, I mean, everything's kind of simplified over on that queen side. I mean, it looked kind of risky for a second, but we're good to go. We got the move g4, and it is actually in this position that the players agreed to a draw. Now, that is all that Firouzja needed in this game to basically win the first, like, match of games, to be able to go into the second, you know, match of games. I mean, you guys might be thinking, okay, white has 2 pawns, black has 1 pawn. Well, basically, you're kind of in a situation where, because it's so simplified and you have pawns just on one side of the board and you pretty much have pretty comparable, like, minor pieces, there's not really a way for white to just force a promotion of a pawn. So, to show you kind of, guys, what that looks like, there's kind of 2 things you could probably think about if you're white. And that is, you know, trying to restrict the king as much as possible. But I mean, all you can really too much do is give a lot of checks. I mean, you know, the king has the ability to, you know, be shielded by checks by this bishop. And I mean, you're either going to end up with a completely rook pawn if you're white, or you're going to end up with a pawn right here that's like easily blockaded by pretty much any one of black's pieces. So just to kind of show you guys a sample variation, you know, we might have the king go to f7, rook to a7 with check, the checks I was talking about, king going to g8, we got rook down to a4, bishop goes down to b2, we got the move h4, trying to maybe see if we can do something over here on the king side. King goes to f7, rook back to a7 with check, king goes down to f6, we see rook down to a6 with check, king goes back to g7. So you see white, I mean, black isn't changing much about their position, and they're basically going to trade off their h pawn for, you know, your g pawn at some point. And I mean, like I said, just blockade the pawn. So the rook would probably go over to b6, attack the bishop. Bishop going to e5. We got the move g5, pawn takes, and then I mean, in this position, I mean, you can either take with the pawn or take with the knight. I mean, if you take with the pawn, like I said, I mean, this bishop, this king, I mean, this rook, they're all available to make sure that the pawn literally never goes anywhere. And I mean, this rook can cut off this king. If you decided after pawn takes to take with the knight, I mean, you're pretty much just left with the rook pawn. And you guys know that when you have rook pawns, I mean, your drawing chances go like gigantically up. So, I mean, there's really not much else you can too much push for in the game. I mean, they could have kept playing, but I mean, it probably would have ended up being a draw. But anyways, like I said, Firouzja really did miss that opportunity right there playing that move a4. That would have been really crazy to see that move. But anyway, I appreciate you guys very much. I decided that I'm going to start talking a little bit less in the intro and talking more towards the end of the video, just for some people, you know, maybe they don't feel like listening to me talk for a very long time. But you always still have the ability to skip the intro if you want to do so. But for all of my people coming from the Philippines, maraming salamat aking magkaibigan po sa nanonood ng aking mga video. Let me see. Hello Ulits. I appreciate you guys very much for coming by. Masaya Kom Kitty Kang Muli. I'm spacing. But yeah, man, I thank you guys very much. Anybody who is coming from France or who does speak French, I will say merci beaucoup. Mon ami, mes amis. Ça me fait plaisir de te voir. I really appreciate you guys. Merci beaucoup for stopping by and taking a look at my stuff. Really appreciate it. Anybody who is coming from Iran, I will say salam, man kelvanam, and khili mamnoon for coming by and taking a look at my stuff. I really appreciate it very much. Everybody who donates, definitely, I mean, Earl Chan, I mean, my man is really hooking it up, man. I don't know, man. I really appreciate it very much that, you know, you guys think enough of the stuff that I do to, you know, give me your support and views and things and likes and subscribes and everything. So I appreciate it very much. And I will see you guys next time.